everybody, Rose Matter here, and welcome to a new Rose Reacts video where I sit down in front of the camera, I pick a gaming topic, and I share my memories and my experiences related to that topic. And in honor of the spooky season and Halloween, I figured it would be fun to talk to you guys about the scariest moments I've experienced in gaming. And if you've been with the channel for a while, you may have realized that I'm not really great when it comes to anything horror or scary related, and I'm a big baby. And yet, I still play scary games on occasion on the channel. But a lot of the moments I'm going to talk to you about today are unexpectedly scary moments from games that I wasn't expecting to be scary. But there are some actual horror games on the list as well. And for an added bonus, I actually have some video from some of these moments of me actually reacting to it, so you guys can see me actually be scared as I discuss these moments. So I hope you're looking forward to this, and let's get right into it. Okay, let's start off super lame, because I'm not even going to be talking about the games themselves, but the box covers for the games. So we're starting off a little bit light here. So there are two game box covers that really freaked me out and unnerved me when I was young. The first one is Resident Evil, and I believe it was Resident Evil for either the PS1 or the Sega Saturn. I think it was the Sega Saturn. And most people who grew up with Resident Evil in the 90s are probably used to a certain box cover, and I'll show it here. It's just a picture of Chris Redfield, and he's surrounded by, like, zombies. Nothing too scary, but the one that I had growing up is a picture with a zombie face on the cover, and I'll show it for you guys so you can see it. And the funny thing about this was my brother, actually, he's a couple of years younger than me, neither of us liked to even look at the cover. So we would have our games, you know, in our like big TV cabinet credenza, and we'd have the games all lined up. And when we would flip through the games, we would go out of our way to like not look directly at the box as we were going through the games, because it just kind of unnerved us so much. So this wasn't just me, my brother also did not like this box cover. Another one that I didn't like was also a game for the Sega Saturn, and it was called D. D is definitely not as popular or as well known of a game as Resident Evil, but I will show you what the box cover looks like. And I never even played this game. I didn't see anybody play it. I actually brought this game up when I was over at my parents' place last week, and I was telling them about the video I was planning on doing, and I mentioned the game, and my dad, who, you know, he got all these games, he's like, I don't think we ever owned that game. And my brother's like, I don't remember that either. Like, I don't remember that game. My dad's like, never heard of it, don't remember playing it, I don't even remember having it. So this is, like, unlike the Resident Evil one, I felt like I was kind of going a little crazy. I'm like, did I misremember? Did we even have this game? But I'm like, no, I have very strong memories of having this box cover in our collection and not wanting to look at it. So same thing where I would flip through the games and I was like, don't look at it. It's like some cursed item. I'm like, don't look directly at it or it will capture your soul. It's just like, just the woman's face with the black coming out of her eyes, and it's just really spooky. But it was even more spooky, like, just last week, learning that apparently nobody in my family remembers us even owning this game, so it was kind of making me feel like I was a little crazy. But yeah, that's just kind of like a little fun one to start, is not even the games themselves, but the box cover. But I will say that Resident Evil, you know, the original for the PlayStation, absolutely freaked me out as well. But we're not going to go into that just yet. We will talk about Resident Evil later on in the video. Okay, so let's talk about another game that may be a little bit not well known for a lot of people. This is a game that released on the Xbox back in like the mid-2000s, and it's called Indigo Prophecy, or Fahrenheit, depending on where you live. I remember it as Indigo Prophecy, and it's a weird kind of like adventure game, choice-based. It's by the creators of Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls and Detroit Become Human. So it's that style of game. It's very cinematic, it's very story driven, and you make decisions and you get, you know, different outcomes. And I really love those types of games, and Indigo Prophecy was kind of like my first foray into that. I can't even begin to try and explain the story. It's insane. The basic thing you need to know is you play as multiple characters. So you play as, I believe his name is Lucas Kane, and he's the protagonist, and it opens up with him killing somebody, in the bathroom of a diner, and apparently he's being controlled. And then you also play as two police officers who are trying to catch Lucas. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy where it's like you're playing as the person trying to get away after having murdered someone, but also playing as the cops who are trying to catch him. You don't need to know too much about the story, but at one point you play the detective Carla, and she goes into an insane asylum because she is interviewing someone who may have some knowledge about what's going on with Lucas, something about the occult and supernatural stuff. Once again, it's a really bonkers story. I'm not even going to try and talk about it here. But what you need to know is that she is at an asylum, she is interviewing this guy, and the power is kind of flickering. It's kind of going out here and there because there is a big temperature drop. The temperature in the world is going really, really down. It's like some sort of global freeze. And at one point, as you're leaving from talking to the guy, the power completely goes out, and you have to make it back to kind of the safe area. And you are in first-person mode as Carla, who I believe also is very she's afraid of the dark or claustrophobic. She kind of has panic attacks. She doesn't like being in enclosed spaces or places where it's dark. So you're playing first-person mode, and you have to walk through the asylum. It's pitch black, and the inmates are all out. I forgot to say this, because the power is out, all the automatic locks open, so all the patients are just wandering around the asylum, and you have to make it back without getting attacked by any of them. So you're in first-person mode, and she's talking to herself. And I gotta say, this game came out in 2006 or something. Voice acting's pretty damn good. You can hear the panic in her voice. She's talking to herself, and she's trying not to have a panic attack, and she has to control her breathing.
I have to move from here, or they'll find me too. If I don't breathe more calmly, I'm gonna faint, and then they get me for sure. Oh God, hurry, find a way out of here.
It's just really well done. You kind of really get into her headspace, and you have to basically press buttons and make sure that you are controlling your breathing, and you have to move forward. And you're, like I said, you're in the pitch black, you have to make it back, but you don't know where you're going. And occasionally you'll see one of the patients will just walk by or walk in front of you, and you just have to freeze and hold your breath. And sometimes they'll come right up near you, and you'll just see them come out of just nowhere, and all of a sudden just whoa, you gotta stop. You have to breathe. And this is a game that is just not scary at all, but this moment was just so well done of just being this very vulnerable woman in an area where there's just a bunch of dangerous men who God knows what will happen if they manage to get you. So it's just, yeah, it's really, really effective. And just her panicked breathing, you can also hear the inmates who are kind of laughing. You can just hear them in the background as they walk by. The audio is very well done as well. I didn't play this in headphones, but I imagine it would be even more effective if I was playing with headphones. And I think it took me a couple of tries, and I think, yeah, the inmates will come up to you and they'll say something gross to you, and then, the implications are not great of what happens if they catch you. But the funny thing about this was I lent this game to my friend, and she called me and she asked me if I could come over and help her with this specific scene, the specific part of the game, because she was also having trouble with it. It was freaking her out, and she wanted me to be there with her and walk her through it. So it wasn't just me who got affected by this scene in this game. And yeah, the rest of the game is just very hit and miss, but I feel this moment was super, super effective in what it wanted to do. Okay, so another game that is not inherently meant to be a scary game, but it still freaked me out all the same, was The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And I feel there's a few things I could pick from this game. There's the wall masters, there's the white blob monster that's at the bottom of the well in Kakariko Village. I can't remember what that thing is called. That thing scared me as well, but I mean, you literally could choose to avoid it, and you only deal with it once if you do want to go to the bottom of the well. But the enemy I'm going to talk about is the Redeads. So those of you who are familiar with the Legend of Zelda series, you know what the Redeads are. They are reoccurring enemies, but I find that the Ocarina of Time version, at least in my opinion, was the freakiest. And I'll kind of put like a picture up of what it looks like if you've never seen it. It's just this brown, it almost looks like it's made of wood. It almost looks like a statue that shouldn't be alive, but it is. And it just has this dead look on its face. It doesn't have any sort of emotions to it. It's just like this zombie, like this wooden zombie. And they move super slow. It's almost like they're moving in slow motion. So they're easy enough to maneuver around. But if you do happen to get caught in its, you know, like area of vision, then it will scream at you, and it's just like a little bit of a jump scare. The screech it makes is horrifying, and it freezes you in place, and then it will slowly walk towards you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and the camera zooms in, like it locks on the redead as it's coming toward you. You're just watching it come towards you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then it just like grabs you, and it jumps on your back and just kind of like humps you and drains your energy. And it lets out this kind of like moaning sound too. It's just like, it's everything that I hated. It was like this creepy look with just the black eyes and no like face really. It was the movement, it was the sounds it made, it was just, and the fact that like, you know, it could freeze you in place and there's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely horrifying. So this game came out when I was about 8 years old, and I feel like it shouldn't have freaked me out as much as I did, but because I was freaked out by zombies. I really hated zombies when I was a kid, and I wouldn't say these things are like zombies, but this was a game where I thought like, okay, I don't have to deal with anything too scary, and then these things show up. And it wasn't something that you dealt with as child Link, but they just suddenly appear once you become adult Link. So you're in this little village area. It's in like Hyrule Castle, or like a little town near the castle. And once you go into the temple and you turn into adult Link, as soon as you come out, the whole world just looks completely different. It's all gray. Everything looks like it's just dilapidated and dead. And then you go out into like the main area, the hub of this town, and there's just redeads everywhere. And that was just such a scary moment when I first played. There's just like these zombie things just walking around this place that was like so full of life and so happy. And the thing is, you have to go back and forth between adult Link and child Link a lot, so you gotta deal with this. And I got so freaked out by the redeads, especially in that area, that I would literally, I had my younger brother, who was like 5 or 6 at the time. I had him, he had to run around and like avoid all of the redeads, and he had to like get me out of that area because I would just freeze up and I couldn't deal with it. So it just seems so silly in retrospect. They're definitely like, I don't find them freaky anymore, but at the time when I was a kid, oh my god, I hated them so much. And it almost made me stop playing Ocarina of Time just because you had to deal with them so often. So that's another one where it's kind of silly in retrospect. I was a kid, but like I can handle it now. But yeah, there's a lot of freaky things actually in The Legend of Zelda. You know, Majora's Mask alone I probably could have talked about, but I was a little bit older when I played it, so it didn't really affect me as much. But Majora's Mask just had this overall just very unnerving vibe to it, so I couldn't really pinpoint a moment like I could with the Ocarina of Time. But yeah, guys, let me know, you know, those of you who played Ocarina of Time when you were younger, were you freaked out by the redeads as well, or was that just me? Alright, so let's talk about an actual horror game and something that is a little bit more recent, and something that I did play on the channel, and something you guys can watch me experience if you would like to see me be freaked out. And that is the infamous Doki Doki Literature Club. And if you have never seen my playthrough of it, I'm sad to say, and I'm sorry to say, that I didn't get very far. I definitely didn't get to the worst of it from what I've heard from people. As soon as things started to go sideways, I tapped out pretty quickly after, as people I'm sure expected me to do. But for the 5 of you who don't know what Doki Doki Literature Club is, I will try not to spoil too much about it, but it is a high school dating sim sort of game that turns real dark real fast, and it's not what you expect it to be. Although you kind of do, because the very beginning of the game warns you that you should not play this game if you are not emotionally, like, feeling well. So it gave you basically like a psychological warning, like, don't play this game if you're experiencing depression or anxiety or other things like that. So that's a tip-off right there. That is not this is not just a typical dating sim, but essentially your character is a high school boy who is brought into a poetry writing club by his friend, and all these cute girls are there, and you have to choose who you want to date. And I'm not going to get into the big moments where everything gets really dark. We'll just say that something not great happens to your friend, your childhood friend, and once that moment happens, the game reveals itself for what it really is. And I've said this multiple times when I play games. Something that really freaks me out is like glitching. It's something so strange, but it's always been a weird thing I don't like. Like when the game, like if a game kind of just goes all like pixelated or glitchy and the sound goes all weird. I don't like it. I really don't like it. And unfortunately, this game starts to do that once it kind of goes into the scary part of it. Like even from the title screen, it will start glitching and characters will pop in and out, and the text will get all jumbly. Just letting you know that something's not right here. And the more I played it with the glitching and the audio cuts and the weird text, and then also there was something going on with the camera. The camera would get kind of weird too. And it was just this slow burn of like all of this happening, and I couldn't handle it. I think I played, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes after, like when things started to go a little bit awry, and I just tapped out. There wasn't any specific moment that made me be like, that was like super scary. There wasn't like a jump scare or anything where I'm like, no, I'm done. It was just a slow burn of just the glitchiness. I was just like, I knew something really bad was gonna happen, and I couldn't mentally handle it, so I did quit, unfortunately, before it got really bad. I say unfortunately, it's probably for the best for me that I didn't do it. And I have had people ask me occasionally if I will consider going back and maybe retrying Doki Doki. I'm not gonna say it's completely off the table, but unlikely. That game just really got to me, and I don't know if I could mentally handle playing it through to the end, but I'll put the moment in this video of when I was just like, no, I'm done. Is this just like Monica slowly trying to, like, you know, have it so that I can't see what the other girls are saying because she's just trying to get my attention? Okay. I'm just waiting for her to pop up again. I'm terrified right now. This is actually really making me unnerved. I don't know why. I don't know why this particular, like, right now, this is, like, freaking me out so much. And I kind of don't want to play anymore. This is such a stupid place to, like, consider ending it, but to be honest, I've been putting off playing this game for, like, a week because it freaked me out so badly, and it's just, this game is just getting under my skin. Like, I think, as embarrassing as this is, I think I might have to stop here. Like, I don't think I can play this game anymore. But yeah, like Doki Doki, very effective. It was very psychologically horrific with what little that I did play. And if you guys can handle that kind of stuff and you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. You just have to be in the right mental headspace. I will warn you that they definitely deals with some dark topics, so just a fair warning on that. But yeah, Doki Doki, a game that I don't think I will ever be able to finish. Alright, let's go back to another older game, and this is another horror game, and this is a classic horror game. The original Silent Hill. I know, big shocker. Silent Hill on a scariest moments list. And kind of like with Doki Doki, there wasn't one moment where I can be like, oh my god, like, jump scare, I'm done, I'm not gonna... And here's the thing, I didn't play this. I still don't have the mental fortitude to be able to play this game. Even the original with, like, its janky graphics and, you know, like, super old, still freaks me out a little bit. It's just very, very good at what it does. So this wasn't a moment of me playing the game, this was me experiencing the game from a third-person perspective, watching someone else play it. But yeah, there wasn't any one moment that made me be like, okay, I can't watch this anymore, I'm freaked out. It was the whole, like, experience of watching Silent Hill, and I have it really burned into my mind, and it's kind of like it's a fun memory, and it's one that I talk about with my family because like back in '99 when this came out, we first experienced it. We went over to my aunt and uncle's place, and my cousin had a little like TV set up in his room, and he had Silent Hill. We'd never heard of it before. My dad, being a big gamer too, he wanted to try it out because he loves horror as well. So I just have this really nice memory of like me and my cousins and my dad and my brother, and we're all just sitting on my cousin's bed in his room, just, you know, crouched in front of this little like 13-inch CRT TV, watching my dad play Silent Hill. And even in the circumstances of like a brightly lit room surrounded by people on a little screen, it still freaked me out. And it was all the things like the you know, the mist, the fog, things just jumping out at you, the little baby things with the knives, the school, especially. I remember the school really freaking me out. And it was just like how dark it was, and just the sounds of like him, like, you know, the character running on the metal plates, and just God, everything about that game just scared me so much. But just like I am now, it's one of those things where it's like I hate horror, but I love horror at the same time. I love to watch it, especially with other people, and I love watching horror games when other people play them. Me playing them, not so much. But even my dad, you know, who's like not really disturbed by a lot of things, even he admits, like, to this day, he says, yeah, that game really got to me too. So that's a pretty effective game, when even like my tough dad who's played a million games and who watches horror for fun, like even he was a little unnerved by the game. But it's just like this really nice memory I have of Silent Hill, but just the experience as well, just being really freaky, and I'm sure I had nightmares afterwards with that, but it's still like fun to reminisce on, and I'd love to be able to go back and just experience that again. But yeah, playing Silent Hill, no, not gonna happen. Not even the original. Alright, so I said I was gonna get back to Resident Evil, so here it is. Here is my, you know, Resident Evil entry that is, just like with Silent Hill, it's almost like a given when you do these kinds of videos about scary moments. And this is from a recent one. So like I said, I like to watch people play scary games and horror games. I don't like to play them myself. So with the exception of playing some of Resident Evil 4, which is more action, so that one wasn't as bad, I could handle that one, and I played a fair chunk of it. There were certain parts of it I couldn't play, like the regenerator sections and stuff. No, thank you. But like I never really played any of the Resident Evils. I always watched them, so I watched my dad play Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2, and like just, that was a lot of fun. But recently we had a remake of Resident Evil 2 come out, and I thought it would be a fun time, maybe not fun, but I thought it would be a good idea to do a special Halloween playthrough of Resident Evil 2 for the channel, and I believe that was last year I did that. So I played through like the first hour and a bit of Resident Evil 2, and I had my husband with me because there was no freaking way I was playing that by myself. And of course I was jumpy the whole time. I hated it, but it was still kind of fun in a weird way. And if you guys want to watch the video, I'll have it linked. And you can see me just struggle through this game. But there were two moments specifically that got me when I was playing Resident Evil 2. And the first was your first encounter with the liquor. So in the video, I'll show it here. Once I got to that point, and I realized what the enemy was, I was walking down this corridor, and all of a sudden the liquor, you can just hear him down the hallway, and he just grabs like a body and just with his tongue, and I'm just like, fuck, that's the liquor. So I literally ran out of the room, and because I ran, I made a noise. The liquor heard me, and he was so fast, and he just jumped on me and started attacking me. I barely got away, and I ran into like a safe room. And I'm having a mini panic attack. You can hear it in my voice. And I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. I can't play it anymore. No! 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 Oh no, it's the liquor.
Where's the door? Where's the door? Go through the door.
I'm trying. Oh god. Babe.
Immediately turn right. Go through there. He can't follow you.
No, I can't do this.
No?
No. And my husband kind of had to talk me through it, and I did manage to get a shotgun, and with a little bit of encouragement I managed to kill the liquor, but it was just that first encounter with the liquor, it attacking me, and then just me just freaking out. I was just like, that was the moment after I killed that liquor, I'm just like, I'm done, like, I can't do this anymore. But my husband did convince me to play a little bit more, and he loaded up a save from his file without telling me what I was getting into, because the second moment was, I'm sure no surprise, the encounter with Mr. X. So Mr. X is a notorious enemy. He is invincible. You can't kill him. You can, like, knock him down for a little while, but he's basically just this gigantic, like, 9-foot tall, just behemoth. And once he's in the game, he will stalk you throughout the game. Not the whole time, but you'll just be doing your thing, and all of a sudden Mr. X will appear and he'll start chasing you. And he's got this, like, chase music, his like theme, and it's horrifying. It's just like, it's so unnerving. And what else is scary is, like, the audio is so good in this game. So as you're running around the mansion trying to get away from Mr. X, you can hear his footsteps. And when he's far away, you can still hear it slightly. But then, like, if he's coming up behind you, you can just hear it get louder and louder and louder. And then also when you are being chased by Mr. X, I think there's like one room. It's like a safe room. I don't know if there's one in the mansion. I didn't get far enough to figure it out, but there is like a couple of rooms where apparently he can't get to you in, but I've even seen videos of him managing to get into the safe rooms. But yeah, once like he knows you're there, he will pursue you, and you just have to run. You have to stop whatever you're doing and running. So in the video, I'm just like walking around. My husband's like, okay, so go up here, go here. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you leading me to? And then of course I saw Mr. X. No, Mark! No! No! Mr. X! You!
Oh, yeah, no, that's, you can't use that.
Oh, God. Mark, I hate you.
And, quick challenge. Just try shooting off his hat.
No!
Why not?
No! Oh, God.
He's pretty slow. You can easily run around him.
Okay. And I freak out, and all I can do is run. And because I don't know the mansion very well, I'm just running. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm just panicking. When I get into situations, just like with static with horror games, another thing I hate is being chased. I think that's the thing that freaks me out in horror games the most, is being chased by an enemy, especially if it's an enemy you can't kill or you can't hurt. That is bullshit, and I hate that. So I am just running, and I don't know where I'm going. And at one point, I run down this corridor, and there's like 4 lickers in there. And so they jump on me too, and I just scream, and my husband didn't even know that was going to happen either, because he didn't get to that point of the game. So he got spooked by it as well. So it's just this really funny moment of just me running from Mr. X, and then running from like one enemy that terrifies me into another enemy that also terrifies me, and then of course I die.
So here's another thing too.
Yes. Oh, that got you too. That scared me. Oh, God. It's like you said.
Go right. Left. Through there.
Okay. Oh my God, there's more.
They're everywhere.
Mark, what are you doing to me? So, it was a fun video, but at the same time, I'm just like, Resident Evil is one of those games I am more than happy to watch someone play, but I don't think I will ever be able to play it myself. But if you guys do want to check out the video, I'll have it linked and you can watch the whole playthrough of it, and I think it's a good time. But yeah, Resident Evil 2, never again. Resident Evil 3, forget about Nemesis, not touching it. Alright, when I do these Rose Ramble videos, I don't tend to do like a least to most. I just kind of go in whatever order I want to, but I did want to save the scariest one for last. And of all the moments I've talked about, this is the one that I had experienced pure terror. I think this is the first moment, like I've definitely experienced jump scares and anxiety and some fear, but this was on a whole other level of just terror and just impending doom. And that might sound a little bit dramatic, but when I say it's on another level, that's because I was playing it in a way that was next level. And that's VR. If you guys have experienced a game in VR, you understand just how into it you get. When you watch videos of someone play VR, you don't quite understand just how immersive it is. And I'll set the stage for you. So I went over to a friend's place for dinner, and they had the Oculus Rift. I'd never, got to experience it before, so I was really excited. And they were like, okay, so you can play the Oculus Rift, like we'll let you guys try it out, but you have to promise that there's a game we want you to play, and you gotta play it. And they didn't tell me what the game was, so I was like, okay, I have a feeling I know where this is going, but I really want to try it. And we started off, we played like some mini games. I played Beat Saber, which I absolutely love. We played like a rock climbing game, so we were easing into it, having a good time. I'd also had a couple of drinks, so I was feeling a little confident. So when they told me what the game was that they wanted us to play, I was more like gung-ho about it than I would have been if I had been sober. And that is Five Nights at Freddy's. Yep, I played Five Nights at Freddy's in VR as someone who does not play horror games. So this is a bad idea, but a promise is a promise. So I went first. I shouldn't have gone first. They insisted I go first, probably because they knew that if I watched someone else play it, I would have noped out so fast. So I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's before. I've watched videos of it, so I had a general idea of how to play. So you are stuck in a room, and you've got monitors. You're a security guard. You have to monitor what's going on. You've got the animatronics, and they move around at night, and you're just stuck in this room. You have a limited amount of power that controls the two doors. You've got doors on each side, and when you see the animatronics coming your way, you have to use the power in order to close the doors, because otherwise they'll get into the room and kill you. So I had a general idea, but I still didn't know quite what I was doing. So I spent, of course, as soon as the headset went on and I started playing, I sobered up real fast. And I was panicking, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just hitting a bunch of buttons, I was just hitting the monitors, and I would just see the animatronics move around, and freaking me out, and I was wasting a lot of the power because I just kept pressing the buttons because I would just, panic, and I would, open and close the doors. And I was draining the power, and the other thing, too, is you have to make it until 6 a.m., I believe. So you have, a time that you have to make it until. And, like I said, limited power. So once the power is gone, once your power is depleted, those doors stay open, and you're fucked. And once again, talking about VR and immersion, the sense of scale is so impressive with VR. It really makes you feel like you're in the world. It feels like when you reach out for something, you can actually touch it. And unfortunately, this worked a little bit too well. So I wasted a lot of power. I am nowhere close to 6 a.m. And I see one of them. I think it's the Chica. I think that's its name. I see it coming towards me, and you have the windows, so you can see. And I just see Chica coming at me. She's just outside, and the sense of scale is just amazing, because I didn't realize how big these animatronics were. And I look over, and it looks like she's 8 feet tall, and she's just right outside, and I've lost power. I don't have any more power. I can't lock the door. She's just right there, and she's slowly coming towards me, and I freaked out, and I literally dropped to the floor, and I was crying a little bit, and I threw the headset off before she could get to me, and I was shaking. I've never felt terror like that about something that wasn't real, but VR is just so good at making it feel real. That's a sad thing. Like, I didn't even have the jump scare of it jumping out at me. I think I would have died. I think I would have, like, my heart literally would have stopped and I would have died if I'd got to that point. So I do actually have video of me experiencing this. So you don't get to see what I'm seeing because my friend is filming me. You just get to see my reaction. So I hope you guys, like, enjoy this. This is the first time I've shown this. And it is from a cell phone, so the quality's not the greatest, but I hope you do enjoy me just freaking out.
Turn the light on first, just before you open the door.
Oh god, this is too realistic. This is too realistic. Oh god, he's coming! Ah! No! No!
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm not laughing at you.
You okay there?
I just saw one coming slowly, and I'm like, no. So yeah, a little bit embarrassing to put that out into the world, but I figured it would be funny to show the proof of it happening. But yeah, never playing Five Nights at Freddy's again. Probably will never play a horror VR game again. Those are just too much. I know there's like Resident Evil, you know, people were joking with me like, oh, play Resident Evil 7 on VR. I'm just like, you fucking crazy, never. I know Resident Evil 4 is coming out on VR. That one maybe I could deal with, maybe, but that's not happening anytime soon. I'm not, like, I'm gonna stick with Beat Saber. I'm gonna stick with Beat Saber if I'm playing the Oculus. No horror games for me on that. If you guys do get a chance to experience VR, try a horror game and come back to me and tell me that it's not just a next level of, like, horror. Okay guys, that will do it for my Halloween Rose Rambles special about the scariest moments I've experienced in gaming. These are just some of them. I'm sure there's other ones I could have talked about, but I didn't want it to go too long today. I could do a part 2 if you guys want to hear more scary moments that I've experienced. Those are just the ones that kind of came to my mind. But I hope you did enjoy my trip down memory lane and my embarrassing stories of how big of a baby I am when it comes to scary things. And thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any suggestions for topics that you would like to see me do in a future Rose Rambles, leave them in the comments below. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween, and I will catch you in the next one. Until then, bye.
Special shout out to my top tier patrons: Nana, Sparky, Dumbass Loser, Tequila Mockingbird, Puncake G, Joel Ostman, Harry Gazif, Asborn Kennedy, Icognito, and Jared Fan.